Did you know that in 1954, a man landed in Tokyo with a passport from a country that does not exist? Not a disputed territory, not a newly formed nation, a country that has never appeared on any official map. He walked through airport customs like any other traveler, well-dressed, calm, confident. When an immigration officer opened his passport, everything looked normal at first. Official stamps, travel history, business visas. But then the officer noticed something strange. The country listed on the passport was called Taured. The officer paused, because there is no country called Taured. When questioned, the man didn't panic. He didn't hesitate. He looked confused, almost offended. He insisted Taured had existed for over 1,000 years. He said it was located between France and Spain. And when they showed him a world map, he pointed directly to Andorra and said that was Taured. Officials thought it was a forgery, but the passport paper was authentic. The stamps were real. The currencies in his wallet were legitimate. And the man spoke fluent French, fluent Japanese. He had business cards, hotel reservations, and records of previous visits to Japan that somehow didn't exist. So they detained him overnight, placed him in a guarded hotel room. 2 officers stationed outside the door. No exits, no tricks. The next morning, he was gone. No broken window, no forced door, no sign he had ever been there. And his passport? Gone too. So let me tell you what happened next. Because what the official reports don't tell you is often more interesting than what they do. The morning after, when the 2 guards knocked on the hotel room door at 7 a.m., there was no answer. They knocked again. Still nothing. One of them used his master key. The door swung open. The room was empty. Not just empty of the man, empty of everything. No suitcase, no clothes, no toiletries, no sign anyone had slept there. The bed was made, military precision, hospital corners, as if housekeeping had already been through. But housekeeping hadn't arrived yet. The guards checked the window, locked from the inside. 6th floor, no fire escape, no leak, no way out. They checked the bathroom, empty. They checked the closet, nothing. And here's the part that made seasoned police officers go pale. The guards had been stationed outside that door all night, 1 on each side. Nobody came in, nobody came out. They swore to it. They'd staked their careers on it. The evidence room. But it gets stranger. Remember how I said they'd confiscated his passport and documents? They'd locked everything in the airport security office. Standard procedure. Metal safe. Combination lock. Only 3 people knew the code. When they went to retrieve the evidence that morning, the safe was still locked. But when they opened it, the passport was gone. The business cards were gone. The money was gone. The hotel reservation was gone. Everything related to the man from Taured had vanished. From a locked safe that nobody had opened. The company that wasn't. Now let's talk about those business cards. The man claimed he worked for a company headquartered in Taured. The cards looked professional. Embossed lettering. Quality paper stock. The immigration officials had called the company before detaining him. The phone number on the card? Disconnected. They tried the address listed. Non-existent. But here's what doesn't make sense. When they examined the business cards after he disappeared, before those cards also vanished, they noticed something. The paper wasn't just high quality. It was a type of paper stock that didn't exist in 1954. At least not commercially. The printing technique was too advanced. The color reproduction too precise. The texture wrong for the era. The hotel reservation. The man had shown a confirmed reservation at the Tokyo Hilton. The immigration officer had called to verify it. The hotel confirmed. Yes, we have a reservation for a Mr. And here the clerk had paused, because the name in their system didn't match his passport. It was close, but different. Like someone had transcribed it phonetically and gotten it slightly wrong. When investigators went to the hotel the next day, the reservation had been deleted from their system. Not canceled, deleted, as if it had never existed. The clerk who confirmed it had no memory of the phone call. The currency. Now let's examine the money they found in his wallet. French francs, British pounds, Swiss francs, German marks, all legitimate, all from 1954 or earlier. But the serial numbers, when the bank traced them, they didn't match any issued currency. The bills were real. The paper was real. The ink was real. But according to the central banks of those countries, those specific bills had never been printed. Think about that. Real money. That was never made. The witness statements. Let's talk about the people who interacted with this man. The immigration officer who first questioned him, the security guards, the interpreter, the hotel clerk. 17 people in total had direct contact with him over those few hours. When investigators interviewed them separately, every single one described the same man. Mid-40s, dark beard, European features, impeccable suit, calm demeanor. But they all mentioned something else. Something strange about his eyes. He looked wrong, one guard said, like he was surprised by everything. The interpreter noted that when the man spoke Japanese, it was fluent, but outdated. He used phrases that were common 50 years ago, she said. Not words you'd learn in a modern language course. And the immigration officer who'd spent the most time with him noticed something peculiar. When shown a map of the world, the man had studied it with genuine confusion. Not the confusion of someone lying, the confusion of someone looking at something familiar that had been changed. It was like watching someone look at their childhood home and find all the furniture rearranged, the officer later wrote in his report. The radar anomaly. Here's something that didn't come out until years later. On the night the man disappeared from the hotel, Haneda Airport's radar detected something unusual. At 2:37 a.m., a blip appeared on their screens. Stationary, hovering, directly above the hotel where the man was being held. It remained there for exactly 14 minutes. Then it shot straight up, accelerating to speeds that shouldn't have been possible, and vanished from radar. The radar operators filed a report. That report was classified and remained classified for the next 40 years. The parallel investigation. What most people don't know is that this wasn't the only incident. In the months following the Taured case, there were 3 other similar incidents. Different airports, different countries, different details, but the same pattern. A traveler with legitimate-looking documents from countries that don't exist, who disappear without explanation. August 1954, Frankfurt Airport. A woman from Uzbekistan. October 1954, Heathrow Airport. A man from Windhoek. December 1954, Charles de Gaulle Airport. 2 people claiming to be from the Oceanic Union. All detained, all held in secure locations. All vanished overnight, and all of their documentation disappeared with them. The scientific theories. So what are we dealing with here? Let's explore the possibilities. Theory 1, parallel universe. Quantum physics tells us that parallel universes are theoretically possible. The many-worlds interpretation suggests that every quantum event splits reality into multiple branches. Could the man from Taured have accidentally crossed from one branch into another? A universe where Andorra is called Taured, where history diverged at some point, but remained similar enough that he could pass for normal? The problem with this theory? We have no mechanism for how such a crossing would occur. And why would his physical documents cross with him? Unless the documents were created in our universe to match his memory of his universe. Theory 2, time traveler. Some researchers suggest he was from our future, or our past, a time when Taured did exist. But that doesn't explain why there's no historical record of such a country. Unless he was from a future where history had been deliberately altered, and our timeline is the anomaly. Theory 3, advanced identity fraud. The rational explanation. He was a sophisticated con artist, with access to technology beyond what was publicly available in 1954. Perhaps intelligence services, perhaps criminal organizations. But this doesn't explain the disappearance from a guarded room, the vanishing evidence from a locked safe, the radar anomaly, the identical incidents in other countries. Theory 4, mass hallucination. Could 17 separate witnesses have all imagined the same man? Highly unlikely, but not impossible. Shared psychogenic illness is a documented phenomenon, but it doesn't explain the phone records, the hotel reservation, the physical passport that multiple people examined, the government file. In 2004, 50 years after the incident, a researcher named Dr. Yuki Tanaka submitted a Freedom of Information request to the Japanese government. requesting all documents related to the Taured case. The response? The files he requested are currently classified under Section 7 of the State Secrets Act. Access denied. So the files exist. They're just not available to the public. What are they hiding? Or more accurately, what do they want us to know? The copycat cases. Since 1954, there have been dozens of reported incidents of people from non-existent countries. Most are clearly hoaxes. People who read the original story and try to replicate it. But a very few, share the same characteristics as the original Taured case. Complete documentation, legitimate-looking credentials, and most importantly, witnesses who swear the person seemed genuinely confused, not lying, not acting, genuinely bewildered to find themselves in a world that didn't match their memories. The unanswered questions. After 70 years, we're left with more questions than answers. If he was a fraud, how did he disappear from a guarded room? If he was from a parallel universe, why haven't we seen more cases? If he was a time traveler, why Taured? And most importantly, where did he go? Did he find his way back to wherever he came from? Is he still trying to get home? Or was his disappearance permanent? The eyewitness who broke silence. In 2019, a 92-year-old man named Hiroshi Nakamura came forward. He'd been one of the immigration officers at Haneda that night. He'd never spoken publicly about the incident until his doctors told him he had months to live. In his final interview, he said, "I've kept this secret for 65 years, but I need to say it before I die." That man wasn't lying. I could see it in his eyes. He truly believed he was from Taured. He truly believed it was real. And when I looked at his passport, really looked at it, I saw something nobody else mentioned. The dates were wrong, not the stamps. The dates the passport was issued. It showed a date 5 years in our future. Nakamura died 3 weeks after that interview. The truth? Maybe we'll never know what really happened in July 1954. Maybe the man from Taured was exactly what he claimed to be, a traveler from a place that exists, just not here. Or maybe he was the greatest con artist who ever lived, who pulled off the perfect disappearing act, and left us with a mystery we're still trying to solve 70 years later. But I'll tell you what keeps me up at night. It's not whether Taured exists. It's the thought that somewhere, in some version of reality, a man is still trying to convince people that a country called Japan is real, even though everyone in his world knows there's no such place.